Hi friends, how y'all doing today? Glad you're here again. Just wanted to talk a little bit about saving some money. And I've decided that starting in September, today's the 29th of August, and starting in September, I want to do another no spend something. The initial goal is going to be for a month. I'll see how it goes. But I want to start off with at least a couple weeks. And I don't want to buy things on Amazon unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, I do buy some of my vegan and vegetarian supplies on Amazon, but I can't really see where I might need anything, but you never know. Um, the last couple months anyway, I've been stocking up on food again because the fall season is coming and things get so crazy you never know. So I want to make sure that I have everything that I need in the house, and I want to make sure I don't have more than I need either. So I've been stocking up, buying little bits here and little bits there. I haven't been hoarding food or anything like that. But now I want to start using some of that food, especially the things that I have in my freezer and my produce and things that are going to go bad. The long-term things like beans and rice and pasta and those sorts of things, I'm not going to use those unless I have to. I'd rather just go and buy a new stock of that and restock that as I go along. But the next month, I want to cut way back on what I'm spending because I would like to get a little bit ahead of um, my income rather than just living, getting the income and paying the bills and then not having anything much in reserve. So I want to start building up my savings again. And the only way that I'm going to do that is to actually go back to monitoring my spending, which I have been not doing too well on. I mean, I have not bought a lot of clothes or shoes. I've bought some, I have to be honest with you. I've bought some, but not like I used to, not even close. So, and I have been going through my house and purging a lot of things. And that always helps me and stops me from spending because I realize that I've wasted money on certain things because um, it just didn't fit my needs or whatever. Now, some of the clothes that I got rid of, I've had for a very, very long time. And because my shape has changed now that I'm older, they're just not fitting anymore. And even if I lost the 10 or 12 pounds that I've gained over the last couple years, um, I really don't have any desire to do that. I mean, I feel comfortable. I'm relatively healthy. Um, and losing weight has never helped my joint problems because I'm not that heavy. So anyway, I decided I'm getting rid of all those old clothes. I'm getting rid of things that are not comfortable anymore because you might look good in them, but if you're not feeling comfortable in it, it doesn't work. So I just keep going round and round with that. And like I said, it does help me to stop spending money. So, but right now, I'm going to focus on food and groceries, and I'm going to have an upcoming video shortly in a 3 or 4 days, maybe. and it's going to be about how I'm using my leftovers to make new dishes, because a lot of people don't like leftovers and then they get thrown in the garbage. But I can't afford to do that. First of all, I think it's wasteful for me to do that. And secondly, um, you know, there's so many resources. There's only so many resources out there, and I like to be as green as I can. So for me, that's not an option. I just want to use what I have. So, but what I do like to do, because I understand it's boring, you know, you eat the same casserole for 3 days in a row and you just, ugh, day number 4 comes along and no, can't do it. But I don't keep my leftovers longer than 3 days anyway. And that's just personal preference of mine. After 3 days, the food is not appetizing to me. So I try not to have more than 3 days worth of cooked food available to me. But if you can, um, I would suggest now, since I'm vegan vegetarian, mostly I cook vegan. Um, Anytime I say, you know, chicken or beef or whatever, that's my version of it. But you can certainly substitute your own animal products if that's how you roll. So for me, I will cook up some sort of protein, which is usually either seitan or TVP or some sort of tofu or any combination of those to make my protein. Sometimes I will buy the ready-made stuff. They have, you know, plant-based chicken. They have plant-based hamburger. They have pretty much everything. And sometimes what I like to do with that, and you can do the same thing with hamburger, is just cook it all up and not season it too heavily. Just put basic seasonings on it like salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And then you can divide that into several different meals depending on how much of it you cook. You can make Mexican out of that. You can make Italian out of that. You can make Middle Eastern out of that. And it all depends on your spices. So for me, I buy a lot of spices. I have a lot of spices in my spice cabinet. I could probably make any dish and have the spice available. But there's a lot of basic spices that you can buy. You can make your own spice blends and then just add them to that meat. And, you know, you can combine it with potatoes, with mashed potatoes. You can put it over a baked potato with a gravy. You can turn it into some sort of a meatloaf dish if you add other ingredients to it, of course. And then if you have the meatloaf, make it basic, and you can make, you know, cut the leftovers into meatball size chunks and eat it with spaghetti. I mean, there's tons of things you can do. You can eat the original meatloaf with mashed potatoes. Then if you have leftover meatloaf, you can chop it up and make a shepherd's pie out of it. I mean, the sky's the limit on what you can do. And you can do the same with chicken. You can cook a chicken or get yourself some, you know, faux chicken and have it available. Cook it ahead of time. Again, don't season it too heavily. Same seasoning, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. And then when you make your dish, you can make a casserole out of it. You can add the seasonings then, and all the other ingredients, it depends on what you want. You can make a chicken pot pie just by adding either cream of chicken or cream of celery or mushroom, and you can add some frozen mixed vegetables to it and have a pie crust handy. You can either make your own, or I don't like to make pie crusts. I've made them before, but I just buy a pie crust where you get the two crusts that are wound together. And Aldi's has their own brand. Walmart has their own brand. They're not expensive. Since I'm a single person, a whole pie is like way too much for me. And there again, I don't want to be eating that pie, that chicken pie for, 4 or 5 days in a row. So what I'll do is I'll take one of the crusts and just get a smaller dish and make a small pie that I can eat for 2 days, and then save the crust. Either you can make a fruit pie out of it, or save the crust and you can even freeze it and make another pie another day. So there's all kinds of things you can do. I like to cook pasta ahead of time, and I make enough for maybe 3 meals. And you know how much you eat, so it depends on how much you like to eat, how big your servings are, and that would, determine on how much you cook. You can cook 2 or 3 or 4 baked potatoes or boil them. You can make hash browns and home fries and potato salad and all kinds of things. Every time. Um, Anyway, back to the potatoes. You can make all sorts of dishes out of them just by cooking them ahead of time, and you don't have to just make mashed potatoes or baked potatoes. You can make all kinds of things. The same is true with rice. Oh, you could even make a potato casserole. You could slice them, the cooked potatoes, and make cheese and chicken, and make yourself a potato casserole. Add some canned soup or some milk or whatever it is, however you cook. I'm sure you all have recipes that you like, but you can cook all that stuff ahead of time. Um, so you can do that. Same with rice. Rice has endless possibilities. You can make rice soup. You can you can make tacos. You can make casseroles. You can make, oh, sky's the limit. You can make sushi. Make your own sushi if you get a sticky kind of rice. So cook enough of that for three meals and just do different things. And then when you have all these things cooked up in your refrigerator, you can mix and match any of those things. You can mix any meat with any vegetable, or anything like that. So that's how I like to use up my food in the fridge. I'll go in there and I'll look and see, okay, what needs to go, and I'll make a decision on what I'm having for dinner by that. And it works out really well, and I don't really have a lot of food waste. And consider making yourself a little container garden, even if it's just growing a few tomatoes on a balcony or a patio or deck or whatever you have. Or you could do some stealth gardening if you have a house but you don't want to make a whole big garden. Now, stealth gardening is putting vegetables in with your flowers and putting them in different places. I mean, tomatoes are pretty, they're red. You can get the determinate type that only grow so tall, and you can harvest those. And then make yourself a little compost bin. All you really need is a 5-gallon bucket. Keep it outside, and dump your food waste in there. And when it's decomposed, you can add it to your soil or to a pot, and your plants will love you for it. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and let you know that I want to show you some of the things that I make out of things just from my fridge. And hopefully you'll find that helpful, especially if you're short on money and you don't have a lot of money to spend on food. Getting the basics and the cheaper food and cooking them up and having them available, really the sky's the limit. So I don't want to make this video too long, and that's all I have. All right, my friends, I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.